Hello, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me today. It is Tuesday, you guys. It is Tuesday. It's not Monday. It's Tuesday. I know this is Monday motivation on a Tuesday, but I had some really good things going on yesterday. So I have a proud mama moment that I am going to share really quickly before we start to get into our Tuesday thoughts or our thought of the day or our Monday motivation. And that is that my son made me a really proud mama. He is a smart child. He is an amazing student, and I am just so excited for him. Hey, you guys, how are you? So good to see you here. So the reason why I was not able to come on yesterday for my Monday motivation is that my son received what they call the STAR Award, and that award is given to only 3 students per school for a certain achievement. Hey, Rev, for a certain achievement. And what David received his award for was that he led his school in FBLA. They did breast cancer awareness. They helped the pet adoption down at the SPCA, and they helped some of the younger students, like elementary school students, with just kind of coming out of their shell and finding their own and doing all of those wonderful things via sports. Now, you guys know that my son has played football since he was in middle school. So the fact that he was able to do all of those things and not only shine his light the way that he shines his light, because we each have a light. And your light doesn't have to be like my light doesn't have to be like your light in order for the light to be awesome, right? So he's doing his thing to shine his light, and his school recognized him for that, and he got an award for it. So I am just over the moon. We go May 12th. He's going to be inducted into a scholars program because he is an A student. So this is just a moment for him to really shine. So I had a proud mama moment yesterday. So sorry I wasn't able to come on. I was too busy being a proud mama. But today we are getting into our Monday motivation on Tuesday, our Tuesday thoughts. Are you guys ready? I hope that you are ready. Right? It's like awesome sauce. Thank you. I will let him know, Pastor. Thank you so much for that. So come on, you guys. Let's do our Monday motivation. Now, you guys know how this works. I take 5 quotes that I have found throughout the week to be quite inspirational for me, and I like to share them with you. So let's get on to quote number 1. Number 1 is, a river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. A rock cuts through. Good morning, how are you? A river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Now, depending on how you think about things, you may say, but that is being powerful. Your persistence is your power. Most definitely, I can agree with you on that one. It is continuing to do what you believe to be correct, believing what you, continuing to do what you believe to be true. You carry on, right? Exactly. You carry on. Has God given you a particular purpose? Has God given you a particular thing that you feel that you are supposed to do? Then you are supposed to carry on with that thing, regardless of what people say. I believe that my purpose is to inspire, empower, and enlighten people to be their best self. Now, because of the various platforms that are available to us, that could be through talk radio, through things like Periscope, through social media, through one-on-one consultations, however it is that you are able to shine your light and work in purpose, then make sure that you are doing that. And for someone who grew up as a coastal baby, then you understand the power of water. Now, perhaps you grew up in the heartland and water really isn't a really great reference for you. That's okay. Maybe one of the other references will work better for you, but everyone can understand. Let's take the Mississippi River, for example. The Mississippi River is such an awesome river here in the States that we even talk about it from a geographical, how close are you? Are you west of the Mississippi or east of the Mississippi? A river is a very powerful thing. Do not underestimate it. The Nile River is very very, very powerful. Do not underestimate it. What river flows through your life? What river is making its way and making a determination, a path for you to in order for you to work as well. So a river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. I want you too to be persistent. Be persistent. Be always shooting for your mark. Number two is failure doesn't mean game over. Thank you so much from my hearts. Failure doesn't mean game over. It means try again with experience. Thank you. I appreciate that. Failure doesn't mean game over. It means try again with experience. Now, why did I choose this particular one? Because I think that so many times, right? So many times people hit a wall, or they feel as though their momentum has stopped. They feel as though I'm just down and out. It's not working out for me anymore, and game over. I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to give up. It's not about the giving up. It's about being able to assess what's going on in your life. What's happening in your world at that particular time? Are you having a hard time professionally because perhaps you're having a hard time in your personal life? Are you having a hard time in your personal life? Perhaps you're having a hard time professionally. If we slow down for a moment, back out of it, and take a moment to see what's going on, what is happening, how can we make this the best that it can possibly be? Every time we hit an obstacle, it doesn't mean that we have to stop. When you come to that pothole, be it that it's professional or personal, when you come to that pothole, sometimes you're going to hit it, right? Sometimes you hit the pothole full on, bow. You're like, whoo, oh my goodness. But the next time you go down that road, the next time you go down that street, you're aware of said pothole, right? So in your life, when you find that you're going down a particular path, and especially if it's a path that you've traversed before, if it's a path that you know that I'm going to have to go down this path one more time, or I'm going to have to go down this path again, you become aware of the things that you need to become aware of, right? So we know that, thank you, Pastor, we know that at this particular point in the road, you're supposed to go left or you're supposed to go right. You're aware of that. So you now have the experience of having gone down this path before. So are you going to go left or are you going to go right? Now, sometimes when you are given a path, people make the mistake of thinking, well, I went left last time, this time I'm going to go right. If it isn't broken, don't try to fix it. If left was conducive, if left was proper, if left was true, if left was purposeful, unless you've been given an explicit direction to go right, then going left is okay, right? So sometimes we self-sabotage because we mix it up too much. We try to have too many left, right, left, up, down, right. You know what I mean? It's like, stop pressing the buttons. You're doing fine. Let me say it this way. I remember I was listening to a sermon one time, and she started off and she was talking about going in the direction that God would have you go in. And are you okay? Thank you so much for that. Are you okay GPS wise? Right? And I'm going to try to hurry up and get through it because her point was so profound. It's like all of us have used, or at one particular time or another, GPS, be it in our cars or on our phones. And with GPS only gives you direction when it is time to do a certain thing. So when you're traveling, and let's say you're on your local freeway or highway or road, wherever you live, right? You're on the 5, you're on the 64, you're on the 95, you're on the 66, it doesn't matter. You're driving. And you are supposed to take that road for 2 miles or for 100 miles, whatever it is. Your GPS isn't going to say anything until it's time for you to take an exit to do a particular thing. Well, many times what we do is that we are traversing, we're on the journey, we're on the path, we are moving forward. And because we do not hear the GPS, I'm sorry, I may be going too fast. That was the point that she was making. Many times is that the GPS isn't talking because we're on the path and we're doing the correct thing. That many times people say that they don't hear from God, and it's not because God doesn't have anything to say to you. It's because you're on the path the way that you're supposed to be on the path. Okay, that was the point there. So back to failure, game over, to the motivational quote for today. So when we're on our path and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, many times when we are traveling and it's smooth road and the GPS isn't talking to us, many times people panic. And they think, oh my goodness, I must be doing something wrong because this thing isn't talking to me. As opposed to looking at the glass as half full and that, oh, thank God, this thing isn't talking to me. I'm on the right path. When it comes to game over, don't allow for a bump in the road. Don't allow for that pothole that you've experienced to be your game over. Instead, look at it as the second part of the quote, and that is, it means try again with experience. Instead, we're now going to look at this. I've been down this road. I know that this pothole is around mile 3. When it comes to mile 3, I'm going to look for it. And I am going to do something different. If it is in the lane closest to the gutter, or is it in the lane closest to the median, wherever it is in the road, I am going to avoid it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And listen, and I love a good cup of coffee. So thank you for saying that I am motivated. I am motivating you like a good cup of coffee. Thank you so much for that. So when we realize that there is a hole, that there's a pothole, that there's a ditch, that there's a rut, that there's an obstacle, it could be a fallen rock. If you guys have ever gone on PCH, the famous Route 1 in California, and taking the scenic route that takes you along the coast of California, you see the signs there that says be wary of rock slides. There are times when you just can't quite get through the canyon because the rocks have slid down the side of the mountain. There's nothing you can do about that. It is something that happens. And isn't that just like life? Sometimes there's going to be a rock. There's going to be something that kind of slides down into your path, and you have to be aware of it. You have to be aware. Keep your eyes open. Be always mindful of what's going on in your world. Is it something that you can avoid? Do you know that this is a particular rocky season in your life? Do you know that this is a particular rainy season in your life? Don't allow for the season that you're going through to equate to game over. Simply look at what are the experiences that I have gone through. What lessons has life taught me that I can apply to this situation so that I can make this the best possible situation for me and have the best possible outcome. I hope that makes sense to someone out there that needed to hear it. Now, what I did not do is take a moment to introduce myself. So let's take a moment now to introduce myself to those of you who may be new or this is your first time here. Number one, hi y'all. I am Dr. Angela Chester. I'm a pastoral counselor and Christian empowerment coach, especially in the beautiful city of downtown Long Beach, but also here new to the Hampton Roads area. I grew up here, but back here for just a little while. I'm so glad to be able to be home and to help the people in the Hampton Roads area. But of course, like I said, Long Beach is my new home away from home, and I love my LBC folks. Thank you so much. I've been there for almost 20 years, and it is definitely a joy to be a Californian when I am there. Now, you guys know that if you want to know more about me and all that I do, you guys know that I have a radio show in Atlanta. Thank you, and a quick shout out to everybody in Atlanta that helps to make that a success, as well as oh, no. I'm not leaving. I'm not done yet. No. I just take a few minutes just to introduce myself for anyone who's new, who doesn't know who I am. So thanks you guys for supporting me with all the endeavors that I do, be it that you're listening to Daily Spark with Dr. Angela on 99.1 FM Atlanta, or if you listen to my podcast, Modern Living with Dr. Angela, that's on iHeartRadio, Blog Talk Radio, so Spreaker, so on and so on. Or if you utilize my services and I happen to be your therapist. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate your support, and I love helping everyone else. Oh, you're in India. I understand. Not a problem. Well, you guys, if you want to know more about me, you know that you can visit my 2 websites, drangellachester.com, drangellachester.com. Most definitely, you can listen to Modern Living with Dr. Angela, as well as Daily Spark with Dr. Angela on the program called Spreaker, 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 kind of like a speaker, but a Spreaker. Yeah, it has an R in there. Or you can go to my website, drangellachester.com. That's drangellachester.com. Or you can visit New Life Dr. A. That's newlifedra.com. And you will be able to find me. Worst case scenario, you guys, you know, you can always just Google the names of the show. Daily Spark with Dr. Angela, Modern Living with Dr. Angela, and you can listen to it on the platform that works best for you. Alrighty, you guys, last little bit of housekeeping, and that is, you see those little Perry ushers down there, those three little dots down there, those 3 little guys. If you would please, let's press those dots. If you are not, tap those little guys. If you are not following me, please take a moment to follow me. I would love to be able to motivate and inspire you for our Monday motivation and Wednesdays for our Wednesdays in the Word. Now, you can also share this out with your followers, with your community. There's nothing wrong with motivating other folks as well, right? Alrighty, so let's get back to our motivational quotes for this week. Number 3 is, chin up, princess, or your crown slips. Chin up, princess, or the crown will slip. Now, I absolutely loved this one because so many times I talk to people and they kind of have a defeatist attitude. They have accepted the role of a victim and they're not really sure how to get out of that role. One of the things that I want you to remember is that, especially as believers, is that you've overcome. Okay, you have won the battle. We still have to go through it, but we're the winners. We're the victors. So if you can sit in that confidence, if you can sit in that boldness and understand that the victory has already been given to you, then your behaviors, your attitude should be different. Now, some people have a problem with saying, oh, well, princess, sometimes that's a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing. It really and truly is your perspective. Now, to me, when I call someone a princess, I don't mean that in a derogatory term. I don't mean that as a slander. I mean it as that you are royalty. You are a wonderful person. You are a king's kid. So, okay, as a king's kid, that's going to make you a princess, all of my female listeners out there. So if that's the case, chin up, princess. Don't let that crown slip off. Don't sit there with your head down. Don't sit there, woe is me. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares for me. I want to sing my sad song. Poo, 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 woo, 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 woo. Absolutely, positively not. Yes, there is a time to cry. Sorry, didn't find a quote that says chin up, but I suppose we could definitely do that as well. Chin up, Prince. I gotcha, most definitely. So when we are talking about woman empowerment, and that's what this one very specifically is about, is woman empowerment. When we're talking about that, we don't want to fall into that old rut, ladies, that because we are emotional beings, as though men are not emotional, but because women are viewed historically as being more susceptible to their emotions, meaning that we are ruled by our emotions, many times people will feel that, oh, as a woman in charge, you are not capable, that you are not adequate, that you are not able to rule as successfully, that you will not make as wise a decision, that you will become down on yourself and you will take the whole business down, or you'll take the country down, or it's just like, ooh, a woman, blah. And that's not the case, okay? So I want you to learn to be strong in your decisions, be confident in your decisions. Make sure that you are wise. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I do appreciate your follow. Thank you so much for that. So in that, I want you to be strong, ladies. God has made us to be women for a reason. We are not supposed to be men. We are not supposed to do things the way that our counterparts do. We are queens for a reason. Allow our kings to be kings. And we should concentrate on being queens. So what does that mean? Yes, we are going to think differently. Yes, we are going to go about things differently. But we may also do things very similar to our king counterparts. And that is okay, because we have a role to fill, because we have a duty to do it the way that we are supposed to do it. One does not mean, just because we are the opposite does not mean that we are less than. It does not mean that we are inadequate. It simply means that we are blessed to be different, that we are to be complementary to the things that may be missing, or complementary to the way in which things are being done. Sometimes you need a kind word. Sometimes you need a gentle strength. Sometimes you need brute force. Sometimes you need brassness. Sometimes, you understand what I'm saying? That there is a time and a place for absolutely every emotion, for everything that we experience. And sometimes it is your turn to do it your way, the way that a woman would do it. So if that's the case with whatever it is that you have going on, chin up, princess, or your crown will fall off. Make sure that you are walking boldly in your femininity and be proud to be a woman. You are a beautiful woman, created perfectly in the image of God. So be proud of who you are. Number four is, it never gets easier. You just get better. It never gets easier. You just get better. Remember before we were talking about this thing called experience. You don't hit that pothole because you now have experience. You have that wisdom. You have that knowledge. And you know that, hey, this is going to happen. I'm not going to go that way. I'm not going to do that anymore, right? So it doesn't get easier. Life doesn't necessarily get easier. The job at hand doesn't necessarily get easier. But because you are getting wiser, because you now have more experience, you are able to determine what is actually going to be best. How am I supposed to do this particular thing? What is the most cost-effective way? What is the best way for morale? What is the most direct route? So on and so forth, depending on what it is that you're doing. With that experience, with your wisdom, you are able to do things from a better position, from a position of experience, from a position of knowledge. And it does in its own way seem as though it's getting easier. You're able to do it quickly. You're able to do it more effectively, more efficiently, because you are more aware, because you have the experience, the maturity to be able to share with others and allow them to move at a better pace as well. It never gets easier. It just gets better. Many times, if we apply that to a thing called grief, many times I am helping a client of mine, and they're dealing with grief counseling. When we talk about time, right, and someone has passed away, many times we say, well, time allows for it to become easier for you to deal with it. There's a yes and a no to that. In time, we are able to deal with the loss of the individual. That is very much true. It does not mean that you have done away with them, that they're not important to you anymore. It simply means that in time, you have been able to deal with the loss of the person. You become adjusted to their not being there in a different way. You are able to readjust your life so that you are able to function and move and experience life without them being in your physical space. Now, if we're dealing with someone or talking about someone that we love and they have passed on, then they have passed on, because I know that sometimes, that is a pet peeve of many people. I'm one of them. When someone passes, and that past is, it's PASS, not PAST. Past is time, right? They didn't pass like it happened long ago. Oh, thank you for staying up and being able to share this time with me. Not a problem. So if someone has passed on, PASS, definitely come back and watch the replay. My episodes, my stories, my shares stay up. So you're definitely able to come back and watch them later. Thank you so much for joining today. Thanks for being here. So if someone has died and we are talking about them at another time since their death, then we have to, many times we have to figure out, how are we going to talk about this person? Do we talk about them from a teary-eyed perspective? Do we talk about them from a sense of joy and hope and love? Or do we talk about them as though they've never left? So when you talk about someone and they died, they passed away, and it's been 5-10 years ago, many times we're able to talk about them fondly without being teary-eyed, because our hearts have healed from the loss. Loss, not lost. L-O-S-S. They're not missing. They're deceased. So our hearts are able to heal from the loss because time has passed. It has gotten better. We have gotten better with the situation, as opposed to our emotions being really raw in the weeks or days after them having passed away. I hope that helps for that to make a little bit of sense too. So the last one for the day is, and it is 12:30 here on the East Coast. Thank you so much for those of you who are sharing your lunchtime with me. I appreciate you. To my folks, friends, and family members on the West Coast, good morning, good morning. Still, it is 9:30 and you guys have settled into work, and I hope that all is going well. Last but not least is, successful people aren't born that way. Successful people aren't born that way. They become successful by establishing the habits of doing things that unsuccessful people don't like to do. One more time. Successful people aren't born that way. They become successful by establishing the habits of doing things that unsuccessful people don't like to do. So we use the example most often with sports. How do you get to be great? How do you get to be the king of your trade? How do you get to be the queen of your trade? It is from practice. And practice, on a side note, I saw this picture quote one day that says, practice makes perfect. Not, because what if you're doing it wrong? Great point, right? So we have to make sure that we are doing it correctly. We need to make sure that we are doing it successfully. And once we continue to do it, once we find something that works for us, once we find the niche, once we find what works best for our client base, once we find out who our demographic is and who is our target audience, once we figure all of those things out, then we're able to, perfect practice makes perfect. And I just fell out when I saw that, and they were, because the way that I read it in my head, they were like, practice makes perfect, not. And I was like, thank you. Someone finally understands. Though the quote of practice makes perfect, I understand what people are trying to say. Make sure that you do it. Repetition, is a way of learning. And I get that, but it's like, right, if you're doing it wrong, you're just going to keep getting bad results, right? Yeah, you can't do it. Is your elbow out or in? Simple things like that. So in being successful and trying to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to do, why do you think that successful people tell you to do certain things? Like get up at 5 a.m. Are you a member of the 5 a.m. club? Are you a member of the 6 a.m. club? If you're not getting up until 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, guess what? The world has passed you by. Now, if you're getting up and it's 6 a.m. on the West Coast, it's 9 a.m. on the East Coast. That doesn't necessarily count. I'm not talking about comparing and saying, oh, well, that person's lazy because they should have gotten up at 6 o'clock East Coast time. Absolutely not. 3 a.m. is 3 a.m. in California, right? So unless you're dealing with the 5:50 club, I like it. So unless you're dealing with an international audience, unless you're dealing with an international base, most people are asleep around 3 a.m. For some people, depending on what your optimum time is, depending on when you are the most creative, and especially if you're an entrepreneur, especially if you are self-employed, then many times you will find that your most creative time may be 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 or 2 a.m. If that works for you and you're able to do that, then by all means, make it happen, Captain. Make it happen. Do what you need to do. But if we're dealing with just kind of a traditional time frame, then most of the time, that getting up at 5 a.m. or getting up at 6 a.m. and going for your morning run and listening to your motivational podcast, listening to your motivational streams, getting in a mindset of today I am going to conquer the day. Today I have something to tackle. Today I have something I have to tame. Today I have to go out and be awesome because someone is depending on me being awesome. Someone is depending on me to work in my purpose today. Today someone is looking forward to me doing and being exactly who I am, exactly what I am supposed to do. Now, when we talk about trickle down effects, many times trickle down economy, trickle down politics doesn't necessarily work when it's on a very big scale, but many times on a very small scale, trickle down works. So because, let's use this as an example. So because I determined that I was going to come on today, I am still going to do my Monday motivation. I am still going to do my thought of the day. So I'm going to do it regardless of what time it is. This is going to trickle down to someone. Someone's going to watch it. Someone's going to share it. Someone somewhere else is going to hear it because I determined that I was going to do exactly what I was supposed to do. And that was do this Periscope. So because I did this Periscope, someone else is going to be inspired. Someone else is going to be motivated. Someone else is going to be enlightened. Now, depending on what that person is supposed to do in their life, who knows, that person might be so inspired that they go out and they write that book, or they create that app, or they find a cure for whatever it is. They're like, yes, that's what I needed to hear today, and that made the difference in my life. It is not because I necessarily am all that awesome. It is because I understand that working and moving in my purpose is a ripple effect for someone out there. If I understand that God has given me inspire, enlighten, and empower, if that is what I am supposed to do, I must move in that purpose. So when we look at that, what are successful people doing again? Successful people aren't born that way. They become successful by establishing the habit of doing things unsuccessful people don't like to do. So, is one of those habits working a little bit later? Are you willing to be the last person to leave, the first person in, and the last person to leave? Perhaps that's what's making you successful. Is your success the ability or the willingness to speak up when other people don't want to speak out? Is your success about the fact that you are able to see numbers, let's say, in a certain way? Are you able to come up with solutions to problems? And it is effective solutions to the problems that you're dealing with. We all have been called for a purpose. We all have a certain something that we are supposed to do. All of my nurses out there, I take my my hat off to you. I tip my hat to you. I salute you. Let me tell you, I can't imagine having to be a nurse, especially in a hospital setting. My heart is very sensitive, and it would just break to see people that are just not well on a daily basis when they are at their worst. It is totally different to go to a hospital from a pastoral point of view, to go in and to pray with someone, to sit and make sure that they are spiritually motivated and to encourage them from a spiritual base. But the caretaking portion of it, I just can't imagine that poor person that just isn't able to do for themselves and to have to watch them until their body is able to heal. I applaud you. That is absolutely awesome. I couldn't be a surgeon. I don't deal with blood very well, right? So there's certain things that you just know that person has been called to do that thing. My surgeons, especially my oncology surgeons, thank you so much for doing all that you did. I am alive today because you were not afraid of blood. I am alive today because God blessed you with the ability to work in medicine. I am alive today because God has blessed me and my life, so that I am able to go on and do what He has called me to do. So don't discount what you do. Don't discount what another person does. We are all successful in the way that we need to be successful, which is another flip to the question, what is successful? For some people, it means you get to drive a Mercedes, you get to drive your big truck, you get to live in your big house, you get to live in the valley, you get to live near the beach, you get to live wherever it is that you want to live, right? But for some people, being successful simply means there is food on my table every day, my family is with me, my children love me, my spouse is happy, We can watch movies when we want to watch movies. We go on vacation when we want to go on vacation. And I can live the life that I simply want to live. That it's not about the bling bling, but it is about the happiness. Whatever successful is for you, whatever success is to you, then that's what's important. I am successful when my children do well. I am successful when my family is happy. I am successful when I am able to see the light shining in those that I have touched. I am successful when at the end of the day, I feel as though I have accomplished something for someone, that I have helped one person become their best self. That's a successful day for me. Now, do I appreciate the abundance? Do I appreciate the monetary things, the material things? Of course I do. But at the same time, if the only thing I received that day was a thank you, if the only thing I received that day was, you know what, Dr. Angela, you really, really helped me change my mindset. You really, really helped me get unstuck today. That's a beautiful day for me. That helps me, that encourages me, that inspires me to keep doing what I am doing. So determining what do things mean for you, and how do you live out your life, and how do you be the person that you are supposed to be. So I'm going to read that one because it's really long. I'm going to read it one more time. You ready? Successful people aren't born that way. They become successful by establishing the habit of doing things unsuccessful people don't like to do. Chin up, princess. Don't let your crown slide off. It doesn't get easier. You simply get better. Failure doesn't mean game over. It means try again with experience. And a river cuts through rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Alrighty, you guys, thank you so much for sharing this Tuesday thought with me today. I hope you have enjoyed this Monday motivation on a Tuesday, and that you have an absolutely awesome week. I hope to see you here back tomorrow for our Wednesday in the Word, which is at 12 p.m. 12 p.m. Eastern time, which is 9 a.m. Pacific time. You are so welcome. Thank you so much. And thank you for your support as well. We really and truly do appreciate your support and for your sharing and all of that. Thank you so much. Now, for those of you who are not sure, the three people that are in this beautiful loop of ours, it is myself. You also saw the Rev Speaks, and you also see from time to time is Luke 249, Minister Kenneth Lucas. You have Reverend Dr. Lawrence Willis, and myself, Dr. Angela Chester. Thanks you guys so much. I appreciate you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.